I was working as a realtor. I loved it at first, but I quickly realized that it was not going to be a sustainable career path for me. I was making okay money, but I was working like 50 hours a week. I was exhausted. I was dealing with demanding clients. I was stressed out. I had no work-life balance. And I realized that in order to make more money, I would have to take on more clients, which meant more time I would have to spend actively working. I knew I wanted to make a lot of money, okay? I had always envisioned that for myself. But I didn't want to give up my life in order to do it. I wanted to make more money, but I didn't want to work long hours to get there. That's when I started my first dropshipping business, and this is where things get kind of crazy. So I started dropshipping, and I was doing it while I was still working as a realtor, and really I was just hoping to make enough money to cover our utility bill. Within 6 months of launching my dropshipping store, I made over $100,000, and I was working like 10 or 15 hours a week. My mind was blown. After that, I quit my job as a realtor to focus on dropshipping full-time. I was making multiple six figures a year. I was working less than 15 hours a week, and I was finally living a life that I was obsessed with. From here, I started getting a ton of questions from family, friends, and even random people online asking me if I could mentor them and help them get started too.
Okay, I'm gonna stop it right there, because who can't envision for themselves a life of luxury and unlimited financial rewards? That's what she pictured for herself, so that's what changed. All right, everybody would like probably to make a bit more than they're making, or maybe a lot more than they're making, but just wanting it doesn't make you anything special. And then she discovered drop shipping, and she made over $100,000. But she says made $100,000, and to me and probably people listening, that sort of implies that she then had $100,000 of money that she could spend on whatever she wanted. But I suspect strongly, having worked with a lot of people who do drop shipping, that what she actually meant is, and if we even take her at her word, that she sold $100,000 worth of product, whatever it was, but that probably cost her at least $50,000 for the product, and maybe another $25,000, $30,000, $40,000 for the advertising cost to drive people to that store to get those products to sell. And out of that $100,000 that she sold, how much did she actually keep? $5,000, $10,000, maybe? Most drop shipping businesses are pretty low margin. So to say that you made $100,000 makes it sound like she had $100,000 drop into her bank account that she could blow on whatever she wanted. But I strongly suspect that is not at all what happened. If she sold $100,000 at all, she probably kept 10% or less of that, as is typical in drop shipping businesses. It sounds good on paper. It sounds good when you present it like, oh, it was so easy. I just started a store and all of a sudden people were flocking to the store and buying my products. I didn't even have to pay for them and I was making a ton of money. But it's never that easy. It's actually really, really hard. And if you don't have a plan and you don't have a customer base and you don't have a reason for people to come to your store instead of the 17 million other places they can go, including a big one called Amazon, right, that we've all heard of. Many of us are members of, right? And they send us stuff to the door within the next few hours or next day with guaranteed refunds and returns, none of which your little drop shipping store is going to be able to do. People are going to go there first instead of to your store. So these kinds of I got rich quick doing something so easy, anybody could do it, let me tell you how, stories just never ever really hang together. They're never really what they're presented as, and they always at the end of them want you to buy their course. So to me, that is a big red flag about the legitimacy of this story and the realism of the average person being able to pull off something like she's implying you can pull off, implying that she pulled off, whether she did or not. So yeah, some people can make money with drop shipping, but not nearly as easily or quickly as she is implying.
So this is kind of interesting. I took my store that had all these moon lamps and it was like slowing down a little bit, like 2-3 months in. Yeah. So what I did is I put it on the Shopify exchange, and what that allows you to do, it's like kind of like eBay for Shopify stores, right? And I would put that on the Shopify exchange and I'd get people messaging me like, hey, I want to buy this store. Yeah. But what I did is I priced it at 1K so that it was the cheapest one online and it was making all this revenue, so it looked like a super good deal. I'd have people message me like, oh, hey, I want to buy this store. Can I get it for 1K? I'm not going to give you this store, but I can make you a store the exact same and create you like winning products and find you all this stuff and provide you guides, and it can be done in like 5 days.
Man, so that was like the hook to get them in.
Yeah, that first month we did like 45K, 70 stores, yeah.
Okay, wait, your math doesn't make sense there. So if I understand what you did, you offered a Shopify store for sale for $1,000, or a sound English 1K, maybe 1,000 pounds, but whatever. 1,000. People wanted to buy it, but you didn't really want to sell that. You used that to convince them that you could build them a similar store as that one, and that's what you sold them. and it took you 5 days and you sold 7 of them in a month and made $45,000, which sounds to me like each store was about 6,500, not 1,000. And in 5 days, you put together a Shopify store that somebody was interested in buying because it was already producing revenue and had a product. I don't think you can do that in 5 days. I mean, you can put together a Shopify website quickly. You can list a product. Maybe if you're drop shipping, you're not going to have any sales that quickly. It's going to take some time to get traffic and get sales. And you're not going to know in 5 days whether or not you're going to be able to have enough sales to justify that price. So it sounds like you created a Shopify store with a whole lot of hype and promise and no actual results, and sold that to people for $6,000 or $7,000. So, as you could say, buyer beware. They should know what they're getting, understand that their store is only 5 days old and has no actual guarantee of making any sales, never mind enough to justify that price. But I guess that's the way to do business. Okay.
Okay, Dave, so I want to start an online business this 2024.
Yep.
What do you recommend?
TikTok Shop, hands down, it's by far the biggest opportunity in 2024, and the reason why that is because it's a brand new e-commerce platform with lots of opportunity, zero competition at the moment. I'll be very honest, you can come in, start selling a product. You don't have to worry about competing on price or ranking on page 1 and so on. You don't need any prior e-commerce experience to get started with TikTok Shop.
Oh, wow.
TikTok makes it really easy for someone that's brand new to e-commerce to start making money with their platform. You don't need that much startup capital. Honestly, you can start with only a couple $100 with a business model called print on demand with TikTok Shop. And also, you don't need to have any TikTok followers yourself, and you don't need to shoot any TikTok videos yourself. And the reason why that is because you're going to work with creators inside TikTok that are going to make videos of your product.
Okay. Yes, a lot of people are starting TikTok shops, but there is no shortage of print-on-demand products that you can buy anywhere. And if you've suddenly created some print-on-demand products, there's no reason creators with large followings on TikTok are suddenly going to want to promote you over the 17 billion other choices that they have. So yes, TikTok is a relatively new e-commerce platform, and sometimes when new platforms come online with good user bases, there is a short window of opportunity to get in and start selling there before all the other competition rushes in and people figure it out. But the problem is all the people who first discovered eBay and then discovered Amazon and then discovered Etsy and then discovered Pinterest and then discovered all the other things that they can, those people are not taking years to discover TikTok. They already know about TikTok. They're already probably selling on TikTok. Some of them are making courses on how to sell on TikTok and have already retired from selling on TikTok because they've been doing it for a couple of years already. So it really is back to the same basics of have something unique that people want, have an audience you're pitching to, have a product that's not the same as everyone else's at a reasonable price, and have an audience that wants to buy it from you that you have control over or access to. Otherwise, you're just throwing stuff up into the same giant whirling swirl of stuff to buy, crap to buy online that everyone else is throwing stuff into. And you can do it and it doesn't cost that much, but your chances of success are not great.
You need to start on somewhere that's free. You ain't got shit to lose. And Walmart is a Seller Central. I log in and it sells it on Walmart's site. I don't have to make a site.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's a Walmart Seller Central is free.
Yeah.
Oh.
Walmart has way less competition. Again, way more people trust Walmart.
Okay, well, I'll just give you my experience on Walmart versus Amazon. Over 1,000 e-commerce sellers that we have, a lot of them, once they get to a certain size on Amazon, will decide to open a Walmart store. And it's not for lack of trying there. It's not for lack of having different products or having to price differently or not investing in ad spend or whatever else on Walmart. But 99% of our clients who are e-commerce sellers of all kinds, selling all different kinds of products, all different kinds of approaches, the biggest sellers on Walmart are selling 5% on Walmart of what they sell on Amazon. So if they're selling 100,000 on Amazon, they'll sell 5,000 on Walmart. It's a fraction. Why is it not the same as Amazon? Because they're different shoppers. People who go to Walmart are going for different reasons. A lot of them are going for groceries these days. Walmart is the biggest grocery outlet in the United States. So a lot of people are going to Walmart for groceries, and then they'll grab a couple of items they need
that they wouldn't necessarily buy on Amazon anyway. Socks, underwear, little stuff for the house. And then when somebody wants to buy a flat screen TV or a new laptop or something that they wouldn't necessarily want to go shopping for or try 4 or 5 different places to find the right thing, they'll go on Amazon. And that item isn't at Walmart, or at least not the same quality, not the same thing that they're looking for. So the Amazon shopper and the Walmart shopper aren't necessarily the same person. A lot of Amazon sellers don't find much success putting their products on Walmart because they're not the same products as Walmart shoppers are looking for. And by and large, Walmart shoppers aren't shopping online nearly as much as Amazon customers. And of course, there's some people who shop both. There is crossover, but fundamentally, they're different markets. And just saying, well, I'm not going to sell on Amazon, I'm just going to sell on Walmart, less competition, I'll do so much better, just doesn't pan out in my experience. And my experience isn't just my opinion, it's across over 1,000 e-com sellers. So I wouldn't rush to Walmart saying, well, I'm going to do really well there because Amazon's too competitive and too tough. If you have the right kind of product for Walmart, you can do well on Walmart. But it's not just this utopia of free customers clamoring to buy your product that Amazon isn't. You have to know what you're getting into, just like any business.